What's up guys, welcome to today's video where we will be talking about a gaming notebook which I haven't covered in quite some time, a gaming notebook. And this one is particularly interesting for many reasons which we will definitely get to the bottom of each of those. But first introduction, this is XPG XENIA 15G gaming notebook. And what does it have inside? You have two versions, two varieties that you can choose from. The processor inside is Intel Core i7-13700H. We have options to choose from NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 and 4070 with 8 GB of GDDR6 memory. Then we have 1 TB of ADATA Legend NVMe SSD. Then we have 16 or 32 gigs of DDR5 from ADATA. And finally we have 15.6-inch screen, full HD resolution, IPS panel, and it has 300 nits of brightness with 72% NTSC. So why am I so fascinated by the laptop? It's a gaming, of course, laptop, and it's not a slim one, it's not lightweight. It goes up to 2.3 kilograms, which is still quite solid for a gaming laptop. It doesn't have a huge adapter for your wall socket when you need to charge it, which is really good because usually when you have high-spec laptop, you do need to have that huge brick of an adapter to plug into your wall socket. This one doesn't. It's actually quite small in terms of all of that I mentioned, which is quite cool. And it's not that slim in terms of in general, but we're not talking about ultra portable laptop. We're talking about a gaming notebook, right? So it kind of goes all in that. But why is it a bit thicker than, I think this is more than 2 centimeters? Because it has an outstanding cooling. And this is where I was really fascinated by. Now, before we go into that cooling part, which you do want to stick around and learn what's it all about with this laptop, let me just show you how it looks, because it's quite interesting. First of all, the design is some sort of a brushed, I don't know if this is imitation with plastic top cover, but it looks like brushed aluminum. It is a bit colder, so it could be that it is. The side rims are plastic, so there's that. We have 720p HD camera as well, and you power it on just by pressing the button here. We have an RGB keyboard, which is one zone, so you could adjust the backlight to your desire in their control center, which is also outstanding. And control center doesn't only have that option, so to adjust the RGB lights, right? It has loads of other options as well when it comes to this laptop, and it will give you definitely some more meaning to it. But before we go into that, I would really like to go into some other details as well, that it comes with Windows 11 pre-installed, which is also amazing. Then it has Wi-Fi 6E technology, which helps while gaming with reduced lag and buffering times. Then we have Bluetooth 5.2. When we're talking about I/O ports, includes 3 Type A ports, 1 Type C for connecting all of your gaming accessories, HDMI port and mini display port. Now, if we go into details, here are the specs: USB 3.2 generation 2 Type A, USB 3.2 generation 1 Type A, USB 2.0 Type A, USB 3.2 generation 2 Type C and DP 1.4, HDMI 2.1, mini DisplayPort 1.4, audio jack, microphone jack, so 3.5mm jacks. We have RJ45 for your LAN connection, and I already mentioned the camera at the top. In the box you get a laptop plus 230 watts of the adapter, so that means it doesn't have to be that big, since the GPU pulls out 140 watts, 4060 or 4070, it doesn't matter. Then we have the total weight going up to 2.3 kilos, which when you take into consideration the thickness, the cooling and all the parts inside, it's not that heavy. Battery is 53.35 lithium-ion battery, single zone RGB keyboard. And when we're talking about the cooling, so this is the interesting part. It's equipped with extended thermal cover and 2 fans with 7 heat pipes. cooling system really does ensure efficient heat dissipation to prevent overheating and extends the life of a laptop, of a notebook, it doesn't matter. And in addition to that cooling, you have XENIA 15G control center software that delivers the laptop status. You can adjust the performance levels and customize the keyboard lighting as already stated. So as you already know, laptops do tend to overheat, right? And that's the biggest issue. Okay, we have some extreme notebooks that have massive cooling to give you no thermal throttling, first and most important, what usually can happen with laptops. This was quite interesting test for me, because what I did, I installed Hogwarts Legacy and Spider-Man Miles Morales to check out, first of all, how it will run, because after all, we are having here 13700H plus the 4070, because this model is RTX 4070 and 32 gigs. But what I didn't do before I ran the game is I didn't install the control center. So what happened is basically that the fans started spinning almost at 100%. I think there were, my rough estimate were around 80%, which does create certain decibel level of noise, and if you don't wear a headset while gaming, you will definitely be irritated by. But then I wanted to, check out what are the thermals and to see how it will perform if I lower down the RPMs of the fans. And I installed the control center. You have dedicated, let's say, inside app of the control center where you access the fan speeds. And there I noticed that you can adjust it either to set the fan curve for your processor, to set the fan curve for your GPU, because you have two fans each on one side. One is cooling the GPU, one is cooling the CPU. I don't know the exact location right here in the laptop, but you'll get the point when I go further into details. So adjusting the curve individually, you can do that. You can put the full speed, so it's quite loud, and they go above 6000 RPMs, which is normal. Any fan that runs at that speed will definitely create unbearing noise. Don't get me wrong, it's not because of the laptop, it's because the fans at that speed do create additional noise. So I didn't set the curve, right? I went to the silent mode immediately, and what happened is interesting. So here are the tests. On 28%, that's the silent mode, 28% of the fans, we have GPU going up to 66 degrees Celsius on average. So it goes from 64 to 68, it circulates around over there, and the fan speed of the GPU cooler is 2210 RPMs. Quite solid, quite okay. The CPU went up to 64 degrees Celsius on average, so it also varied from, I don't know, 61 to 66, something like that. And the fan speed goes up to 2170 RPMs. So you don't get mistaken with the 28% and the fan RPMs. The CPU fan runs lower RPMs than the GPU fan. So you do need to take that into consideration. What was interesting is that at 28% the fans are barely heard, which is outstanding. And these thermals are great, because I used to have a laptop that ran 100 degrees on the CPU or something. It was heating up so bad I could barely put my hands on the laptop or type or do whatever. I even had one gaming laptop that was screaming so hard that I could hear it through the headset. But what I wanted to check out is when I placed the actual thermals, well, actually the fan speed on 100%, this GPU went down to 55 degrees on average, 6270 RPM fan speed, and the CPU went down to 52 degrees Celsius of average, 6040 RPM fan speed. Now, as already stated, it's a bit louder when you game on 100% fan, but to be honest, you can set a nice fan curve to go up to maximum 50%. The components will be definitely cooled perfectly. You won't have thermal throttling from any of the CPU or the GPU. Everything will work fine. You'll still have peace of mind when it comes to additional sound and noise coming. Because, for instance, if you game with your friends in some multiplayer, I don't know, Battle Royale, FPS games or something similar to that, this will be definitely heard if you crank it up to 100%, but you don't need to. This is just, I would say, I honestly don't know why, like a safety precaution, but the thermals are outstanding. And when we take into consideration and compare this gaming laptop to a standard gaming rig, where the GPU runs on full load at 65, even 67, or some GPUs up to 75 degrees Celsius. Here with 28% load on the fan, it goes up to 64 degrees on average. That is just, I can't explain. I'm usually not that fascinated by gaming laptops, but when we're talking about cooling in this scenario right here, this is outstanding. And you do have to admit that this is quite nice cooling when we're talking about such laptop. Two fans, each fan has its own exhaust, one on the left side, one on the right side, and the ports are even nicely organized. So it's well arranged, organized gaming laptop. Full-size keyboard giving you the numerical pad, full-size keyboard on the front, RGB one-zone backlight. We have a touchpad, of course, logical. I don't know the shortcuts and everything that, but I really wanted to present you the laptop in its, I would say, full possibility what it can achieve while gaming. Because this is a gaming laptop. You could use it for rendering or do anything similar to that. And even with the load on 100%, you can still regulate the fan curve and everything. The screen is outstanding. The colors are brilliant. After all, we are having here an IPS panel. And 144 Hertz is outstanding on... Well, it would be a shame to have these parts, these components, with a lower frequency on the screen. The design all in general I really love, because it has a nice subtle logo here with XPG. It has nice, I would say, grayish black finish with matte plastic here at the back. You also have additional exhaust. I think the fan has, sorry, two exhausts, one at the back, one on the side, and the same thing happens here. The design is great, the interior is great, it looks really nice. The keyboard does really shine bright even with the soft boxes. So it's really a thought-through gaming notebook, without a doubt. And I mean, I can't deny that I actually really do love this this one. It's really an outstanding one with everything sorted out perfectly. So we have here XPG XENIA 15G gaming notebook. I'll mention the specs once again. So this particular model right here that I have has Intel Core i7-13700H. It has 32 gigabytes ADATA DDR5 memory. We have 1 terabyte of NVMe SSD from ADATA. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070, 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, 15.6 inch full HD screen with IPS panel at 144 Hz refresh rate, full-size keyboard, loads of connections, outstanding cooling, really outstanding. I do have to admit, to play a game on a gaming notebook and not hear anything is really big thumbs up to XPG. I can't give it the best buy because we're talking about a laptop that is definitely above some sort of a budget price range, but after all, the components and the cooling really do cover the price up. So I would say I would give this XPG XENIA 15G PC Crazy Performance badge just because of the cooling and the components and how this laptop, this notebook is well thought through. Guys, that's all that I can say. The link for the notebook is in the description below, so you can check out the price and all the combination that you can do with it when we're talking about the components. And finally, if you like the video and if you like this notebook, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and click the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Thank you for watching and see you shortly in a new one. Bye bye.